What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host Donovan Quick, and with Sunday's win over the Jets, the Dolphins are now officially 2 games back of the Broncos for the final playoff spot. With all the bye weeks officially behind us, it's all steam ahead. And so today we're going to play around with the playoff machine on ESPN a little bit. I'm going to show you who we should be rooting for this week, as well as what needs to happen to continue this playoff chase and our dreams of making the playoffs this year. All right, so let's go ahead and change screens here real quick. Boom. All right, so we're not going to mess with the NFC at all, besides when the NFC plays the AFC. Obviously, week 14 is done. We're going to go to week 15. So Denver sits here at 8-5. Dolphins obviously are at 6-7, 2 games behind. This week, the Colts play the Broncos. The Colts actually are also 6-7. They had their bye week this past week, week 14. So they actually have the tiebreaker over us. However, we play the Texans. They can pass the Texans. They are 2 games behind the Texans. They are 2 games behind the Texans, and the Texans have a brutal schedule ahead. And so the Colts potentially could take over that last spot in the AFC South, getting the 4 seed away from Houston. So we're going to kind of play that scenario out, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick the Colts to beat the Broncos. Do I think that's going to happen? I think it's probably going to be the Broncos that win. Either way, this game doesn't mean too much, or it means a lot, but like if either one wins, it's kind of a win, because if the Broncos win, then the Dolphins control their destiny over the Colts. If the Colts win, we're a game closer. Obviously, Dolphins need to win, so we're going to pick that. We're going to go AFC teams only. So Ravens beat the Giants, Cardinals probably beat the Patriots. This is an underrated game right here. We're going to go ahead Jags over Jets. Underrated game right here. Bills and Lions. We want the Bills to win this game, and I'll explain a little bit later. Chargers probably win over the Buccaneers. We do want the Buccaneers to win that game, though. We do want the Buccaneers to win. And Eagles probably win over the Steelers, and that's exactly what we want to happen as well. Bengals over the Titans. That game doesn't really matter too much. Bengals are behind us, but we also have the tiebreaker over them, so they would need to leapfrog us by 2 games to get into the playoffs. Their playoff hopes are basically gone. Chiefs at Browns. We want the Browns to win. I'm obviously going to pick the Chiefs because their dark magic is insane lately. And then I got Falcons over the Raiders. So that is what the rooting guide we want is basically, we want the Bucs over the Chargers, we want the Bills over the Lions, and we want the Browns over the Chiefs, and we want the Colts over the Broncos. Like I said, this can go either way for us and still be a good thing, but for this scenario, we want the Colts over the Broncos, because at this point we are tied with the Colts, 1 game behind the Broncos. Now the Colts are also 1 game behind the Texans, and they have the tiebreaker over the Texans. And with this game here, the Chiefs losing, the difference right here, 12-2, 11-3. In week 18, we're fast forwarding a little bit. The Chiefs play the Broncos. So if they rest their players in the last week of the season, they have a shot to lose that number 1 seed to Buffalo if they end up with a tied record. So we want Buffalo to win out, so the Chiefs have something to play for the last week of the season, so that the Broncos will lose. Now, the Broncos do have a very difficult schedule going forward. So we're going to go back to week 16. Week 16, another one, Chargers, Broncos. Because at this point in time, I have the Chargers winning there and Chiefs winning there, because realistic scenarios. At this point in time, we're 1 game behind Denver, and we're 2 games behind, 2 games behind the Chargers. So we want the Chargers to win, so that way we can be tied with the Broncos and actually have that spot. Now, Colts probably going to win over the Titans. We don't want them to win there. Probably going to happen. Bengals, Browns, doesn't really matter. Just going to pick the Bengals because it's fun. Chiefs and Texans, we want the Chiefs to win that. And you'll see here in a sec why. Yeah, you'll see in a little bit why. Pittsburgh, Ravens, we actually want Pittsburgh to win this. Bills, once again, we want the Bills to win out. Dolphins, obviously, it's to lose just because it's funny. Eagles, that doesn't really matter. I believe that's it for the AFC teams. All right, so then that means after week 16, we are tied with the Broncos and the Colts. Obviously, we are eliminated because the Colts have that tiebreaker over us. Now we go into week 17. Week 17, Ravens probably going to beat the Texans there. That eliminates the Texans from the playoffs right there because we got the Colts beating the Giants. Dolphins obviously need to beat the Browns. Chargers probably beat the Patriots. Chiefs maybe beat the Steelers. But once again, this could be a game where we're like, okay, Steelers, if you win this, it's a good thing because we want Kansas City to have something to play for the last game of the season. At this point in time, if this happens through the first or through the week 17, the Dolphins now control their own destiny going into week 18. So no matter what happens here, we control our own destiny. The Colts could lose, the Texans could win. That doesn't affect us. The Broncos could win. As long as we win, it doesn't matter. So, the most realistic and idealistic scenario is if the Colts win and they end up taking over that spot there because the Texans just have a brutal schedule. Once again, Texans have us this week. Next week, they have the Chiefs. The week after that, they have the Ravens, and then they finish it off with the Titans, who they have not beaten away in a very long time, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a very, very difficult schedule for the Texans, and they could possibly be out of there. Obviously, I think the Colts have one of the easier schedules besides the Broncos. Now, if the Broncos win that game against the Colts, that changes things up a little bit. So then we have the Chiefs over there. Colts win at Titans. Dolphins win. Where's Broncos? Want Chargers to win that. Boom. Bills to win that. Ravens to win that. Where's Colts? Colts win. So now Colts would be 9-8 and eliminated from the playoffs if the Broncos win that. However, that would mean in week 18, we need the Chiefs to then win for us to make the playoffs. So, basically, I've played around with this a lot. This week, the most idealistic thing possible is for the Colts to win out and or win their next 3 games, and for the Texans to lose their next 3 games. Because at that point, we have, and of course, as long as we win, we have secured a playoff spot as long as the Broncos lose one more. And the Broncos, once again, have a very difficult schedule. We need the Chargers to beat them. We need the Colts or Chiefs to beat them. I don't think that I'm looking at their schedule here. Once again, they have the Bengals. That could be the Bengals too. They have a difficult schedule. Bengals defense is trash though. Yeah, it's just it's a very, we're chasing the Broncos, we're chasing the Colts. We want one of those. We need the Colts to lose one time, we need the Broncos to lose twice at the very least. I'm going to go back to this after I clear it. Boom. Denver, once again, Colts win here. We need the Bills to win out because we want the Chiefs to have something to play for in this week, and we would absolutely need the Chargers to win this matchup in week 16. That is 100%. That is non-negotiable right there. Right here, Chargers, Broncos. We need 100% the Broncos to lose that matchup. Because, I'm sorry, I like the Bengals as far as their offense is concerned. Their defense, though, is trash. And the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's a very difficult schedule. I think the Chargers have the best chance of beating them. out of the 3 teams, Colts, Chargers, Bengals. Look, if the Broncos lose twice and the Colts lose once in the next 3 weeks, we control our own destiny. And it's as simple as that. But we want the Bills to win because we want the Chiefs to have something to play for week 18. Because if they don't, they're going to be resting Mahomes. They're going to be resting Travis Kelce. They're going to be resting Chris Jones. They're going to be resting all of these players that have potential to have huge impacts on the game. And mind you, the last time that they played, which was in Kansas City, they almost lost if it wasn't for a blocked field goal. Like, they basically lost that game or won that game with like dark magic or something. It mind-boggling how they keep winning. But we want them to have something to play for so that they do win in week 18, because that's basically what it's going to come down to. That's probably what it's going to come down to. Do the Chiefs have the number 1 seed secured? If they do, they're going to rest players. Broncos are in, because all they have to do is win. As long as they beat the Bengals and the Chargers, they literally just have to lose 1 game over the next 4. They have that room. They can go 3-1 and they're in. There's no scenario where they go 3-1 and they're out of the playoffs. They lose 2 games though and they're out. So we 100% need them to lose 2 games, preferably in the next 2 weeks, so that way we can control our own destiny going into 2 of the coldest games that we're going to be in, honestly. And I'm going to get into that just a tiny bit here. So we finished the season in the snow in Cleveland, in the snow in New York. That is going to help us potentially, if we are able to win those games and win out and make the playoffs. We're going to either go into Kansas City, freezing cold like last year, or Buffalo, freezing cold and snowing like hell like 2 years ago. Having those 2 cold games before going into a cold environment in the playoffs is going to help us. It helped us when we played in the snow in Buffalo, and then 3 weeks later we played in the snow in Buffalo again, and we almost beat them in the playoffs with Skylar Thompson in McDaniel's first year. Think about how close that was. And the Rams just showed that the Bills are vulnerable. I'm not saying that we're going to beat them. I'm not saying, oh, we have a 50-50 shot. Like, no. But a shot is a shot. And we might have one. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I love playing with this ESPN playoff machine. Let me know what you guys do. Let me know what your favorite scenario or your ideal scenario is in the comments below. And also, don't forget to check out, boom, our helmets on Grid Green Iron. Link down below. Deuces.